device such as this will have been to connect the patient to the oxygen. There is a simple tube that brings in nasal prongs that are inserted into the muscle and deliver the flow of oxygen to the patient.
Okay, so they've played two different things about this highway thing where they go, oh, I told them they had to close the road, and everybody's doing 90, and all of a sudden from perfect visibility to nothing. Keep it up, PEDO, keep it up, PEDO, keep it up. PEDO, yeah, you're the puppet master, Jeff, the PEDO. We get it. Can you fuck off?
To the class of 2020.
I'm not putting it on fucking...
Congratulations. You did it.
I just said that to like, give you a reason to start dumping. I like it when you wear out these tunnels. Keep trying to show me my eyes closed. Keep it up. Keep it up. Keep it up. Every time you dump.
On your community. On your world. But because of COVID-19 pandemic,
you get nervous when you hear them signs,
don't you? This is not how you imagine celebrating this.
So I've run the story twice now since I came online today.
Has always
they're going to have 280 people telling you how you must get the vaccine.
People like you have been
now, I've wanted to play this for you directly twice. They're not going to allow it.
Maria Alexandrova,
but I'm supposed to hear how these so-called people that, oh, you're getting mad, you're getting mad, you're getting so mad. I'm supposed to
tirelessly working to advocate
hear how so-called white people, not child molesters at all and not racist, working for a racist company with a swastika as a logo, claiming to run everything, our streets, but they're not behind pedophilia or white supremacy.
Or the young people who are pitching in to help in the battle against COVID-19, like Afghanistan's all-girl robotics team, who are turning used car parts into ventilators, or like the young people I've met in my travels,
you ventilate your fucking housing?
The harshest environments imaginable, like the inspiring students at the Umbata Girls' School in Kaduli, South Sudan, shaping their minds for the future while their country's conflict continues. Like Mohammed in war-torn Syria, he co-founded a tech company and even invented a robot. Or the refugee children I met in Bangladesh, determined to get an education and build futures for themselves at a camp school.
You realize robots
in ways
do nothing
big and
for
small,
these people.
Global and local, young people are already making their marks on their communities and on the world. So now it's your turn.
Oh yeah, the
you
power
have the
outage.
power.
Make sure your cell phones are charged.
Ideas. You have the technological know-how. You have the drive, the energy, and the passion it takes. But you have something more, something that other generations did not have. You have the experience of entering adulthood during COVID-19. You know what it has taken away. But you also know what it has given to you. It's given you strength. It's shown that by working together, you can persevere. The pandemic has also proven that you can use technology to break down
everything controversial
to learn.
You just dreamed up on your own. It did not exist before. You're deviant. We're going to blame anything and everything on the virus.
Reminded us that the world is one.
This is another one of these. I'm a good, clean white mother. I'm not in charge of white supremacists or pedophilia or genocide.
That's why
the worst genocidal people are in the United Nations
and organizations to fight COVID and help communities build back better. But even small individual actions can make the world a better place. So raise your voice about issues that matter to you and keep on supporting one another. So, class of 2020,
these tomatoes
as you enter a world that is changing,
one taller than me.
You don't need
to
look for a place
I walked
to
past
belong.
it 3 times this week.
You've
Didn't realize it was
found it with each other.
No
matter where you go, this experience will bind you together. There is only one class of 2020. You will do extraordinary things.
Who exactly are you talking to when school's been closed for 2 fucking years? Schools. Everybody needs to go to school. The people that have these jobs.
What has happened is
This shit didn't exist for them
insofar as
to.
protocol is concerned.
Right. They built the false dichotomy themselves. Getting angry. Getting angry. You're getting angry, PEDOMOB. You're getting angry. You don't like me pointing out how you lie to kids, eh? You gravitate to be teachers.
You know, it was a very childish thing. It had no grounds whatsoever to do so, and so I don't think that the trust is going to be reestablished, especially as the global balances are changing. As the global balances change, the pressure on Iran to submit to something which is not in its favor or which basically erodes its sovereignty is going to become much more stronger with time from the side of the United States, and that's what we're seeing by the let's go back to the negotiations, but we want a lot more from you than we asked before.
Mm-hmm. Then what do you make of the role of the European signatories in whether a
So her job is not to understand the question or even impart to us that she was listening. Her job is to read the questions her 95-year-old Chinese boss wrote for her. Male boss wrote for her. Because remember, this woman will tell you herself that women are not good at math and science, and reading is bad for you.
And in the end,
You won't hear any Chinese man say anything about blue light or reading being bad. Every woman you hear on this station will slip in at some point. Reading is bad. If you're reading in bright light, it's bad. If you're reading in dark light, it's bad. If it's blue light, it's bad. If it's red light, it's bad. If it's regular light, it's bad. Just don't read. If you're reading from a book, it's bad. If you're reading from a phone, it's bad. If you're reading from electronic paper, it's bad. Just watch TV, because that's okay. TV is safe.
They feel the inevitable, which is China is fully integrated into the global economy, and it's a force to reckon with, not in the sense of a military force, but a cultural and an economic force that is completely that's now making the groundwork of everything, of the cultural trade, of the industrial trade. So
aluminum trays are really good for drying out fruit, if nothing else.
Biggest China from the world economy.
Don't stick to it.
In fact, it may be the case very soon that China can actually dislodge the United States from what we know. On the real level, China is
dislodge them from what? If you believe China has some reason they have to compete with the U.S., you're on fucking drugs. Weren't you just talking about Iran, bro? Anybody that's built their career on being an expert on Iran-U.S. relations, you don't have a career, you don't have a brain.
Everyone's benefit. The one side lifts all boats policy, which is what the world needs in this time of, as we face an existential crisis in nature.
We're not facing an existential crisis. You are stupid.
And the environment. So
you've got this idea that it's Islam versus the United States. That's your existential crisis, bro. Made up in your fucking head. You know what the biggest religion in the United States is? It's probably Islam. Only because the Chinese don't consider it to be a religion, but a spiritual thing to have Buddhism. Oh, that's right. It's not Catholics and Christians. No, it's not. You're telling us we're all Catholics. All the white people and all the black people are all Catholics and Christians. Well, apparently everybody in my fucking bloodline missed that one.
Or, to ask for the legitimate deal to be recognized so that the region and the sanctions to be lifted on Iran, so that the region could go back to some semblance of stability, because this is a region that has suffered tremendously from wars, and it's about time that the global order finds a way for this region to be stable.
Thank you, Dr. Ali Qadri, Senior Research Fellow at National University of Singapore.
Committees recommending seniors avoid the shot because it says there's insufficient evidence of the effectiveness of the vaccine on this age group.
Efficacy.
The top infectious disease expert expressing a lot of optimism, but the potential of the Johnson vaccine being proven.
It's just like autoimmune compromised people and old people. You don't produce an immune response, so the vaccine can't work.
How much easier you can vaccinate a population when you don't have to bring people back to the second dose. Scratch the surface. That's like a big deal.
Health Canada
yeah, once you see how Canada fucks things up.
Could come in the next few weeks. Traffic and weather next. This is 680 News.
License 10349.
People don't.
Remember, I think I've just about counted everything.
Enjoy tons of on-demand movies and shows. Switch to the Stuck-at-Home bundle, including 5 TV and 5 Internet 150. Now from just $119.90 per month. Call 310-BELL to check availability. Bell. Staying home just got better.
With the Daily Grand Auto, you can win $1,000 a day for life. Temptation's right there, and all I need on the 60s at 6. You know, we do this every night. The 60s hour, the 70s at 7, 80s at 8, and then the 9 o'clock mix. And we mix up the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s in that hour. Love to do it.
For all the
got more
90s.
in the 60s hour, including.
Jeez.
IT infrastructure. Nothing less than 6.
City use time 621.
Traffic and weather together on the ones brought to you by.
Alright, well, I apparently have nothing useful to bring the world right now. So what was I saying they were saying? Yeah, there's going to be 280 ambassadors. You're going to be driving taxis? That's a Toronto joke. We have a thing called an ambassador taxi license. Yeah, it's kind of like a regular cab license, but everybody knows. Never mind. It's fucking cold in here now. It wasn't cold a minute ago. Yeah, we got 80 kilometer an hour gusts. 80 kilometer an hour gusts. Actually, let's do that. Let's do that. It's the train. Because I live on the wrong side of the tracks. I'll do it in English because I'm not sure if I'm focused right now.
Welcome to Environment Canada's Weather Service. Bienvenue au service météorologique d'Environnement Canada. For the City of Toronto, press 1.
For the forecast for the next 7 days, press 1.
Weather conditions at 6 p.m. Toronto, Pearson International Airport,
So when
light flurries, temperature -7, relative humidity 61%, wind northwest 48, gusting to 60 kilometers per hour, wind chill -17, barometric pressure 101.8 kilopascals and rising. Toronto, downtown, temperature -6, relative humidity 47%, barometric pressure 101.8 kilopascals and rising. Toronto City Centre Airport, mostly cloudy, temperature -6, relative humidity 51%, wind west-northwest 48, gusting to 61 kilometers per hour, wind chill -16, barometric pressure 101.8 kilopascals.
-16. Did you hear we got an incomplete report from each one there?
7 days, press 1. For the hourly observation.
One of them had the fucking wind chill, one of them had the wind speed, and the other one had the barometric pressure for 3 different locations. That's good, that's good, that's good. Okay, wait a second. This is Beijing Hour. One of these is World Today. Hold on.
Of the Nigerian capital to ensure that.
Talk bullshit about Iran all day, why don't you?
The patients are all on the verge of death. The machines can be intimidating for the patients. Through this kind of technology, we hope patients can feel as though their family members are with them.
What about
and give them
nanites?
confidence to fight the
You ever
disease.
see them
Hu
moving part
Chengdong now
robots
wants to
size like
expand the
smaller
use of
than an
this
ant?
technology. It's the best hospital in Southwest
It's like
China.
a microchip.
West China Hospital
Ant.
works with
Walks
many
around.
small
You ever seen
medical
this shit?
facilities in the region.
They might be very remote and lack good medical resources and experienced doctors. But we can realize telemedicine through this kind of technology. It's as though I was standing right there.
Hu Chengdong says if that comes true, many more lives will have another chance.
That was Tao Yuan reporting. Schools have reopened across China. Sun Ye spoke to a few teachers and students about safety protocols for the new semester.
Tens of millions of primary and secondary school students are returning.
Are you switching to quadmesters? Are your teachers going on strike in rotating strikes, 4 different unions, to get 2% increase when everyone else got 1? They need 98,000 because 97,000 is not enough.
There's still something different. For students in Beijing, when they go into the campus, they have.
Nobody cares.
The government has been continuously pushing away Chinese investment. Chinese capital will find new destinations for investment. So if you lose it, you lose it. Simple.
Well, actually, besides Australia, other members of the Five Eyes intelligence network, including the US and UK, have also tightened.
New Zealand and Canada, and it all runs through the Royal Canadian Navy. All your cell phone calls in the US, they run through Royal Canadian. Oh, you don't like
Or
internet?
is this about the big power competitions?
There's a reason Canadian cops do crookedness that US cops don't do.
Or abuse in Australia. Australia's, allegations, for example, against Huawei are preposterous enough, but there is an abundance of instances which are very far-fetched and ridiculous. How could, for example, let's say, Moni's investment in a dairy beverages company harm Australia's, national, interest? So national interest, security is simply just a pretext. I think Australia's restrictive policies to China investment has been consistent with Washington.
Pretty much the same as the US, where
during the Trump administration.
this is our land, we're not going to let anybody come here, and all you fucking people that are here first, we're going to kill you. Yeah, that's the same. The worst refugee camps in the world are in Australia.
Push back China's development. In other words, the tactics have been deliberately calculated.
Australia doesn't have a leg to stand on to complain about China, Iran, Afghanistan, none of them. Australia doesn't have a leg to stand on at the UN about any of that.
Different from the United States and the UK, Australia relies very heavily on foreign.
Think of all the things Canada steps up for, and the Australian government, they're looking the other way, saying nothing. They don't open their mouths.
Almost nothing for it to gain, only losing at a very heavy cost.
Yes,
So that's the world today. This is Beijing Hour. Okay.
Expressed disappointment that its appeal for aid for impoverished Yemen has only raised 1.7 billion US dollars.
And what are you going to do with the money?
Pledging conference.
This is what blows my mind.
Switzerland.
It's like watching these idiots make money off coke and
roughly 3.8 billion US
dollars.
dollars.
Do nothing.
Myanmar's Aung San Suu Kyi is facing 2 new criminal charges in her court hearing. Gao Jiayi has details.
State Councillor Aung San Suu Kyi has been seen for the first time since she was detained on February the 1st after she appeared in a court hearing.
A bunch of pussies because they didn't kill her yet. So where does that leave us?
From the video, Aung San Suu Kyi originally faced 2 charges of illegally importing 6 walkie-talkies and violating Myanmar's natural disaster law, but a further 2 charges were added on Monday, one under section of Article 505B Penal Code, prohibiting publications of information that may cause fear or alarm, and the other under telecommunications law, stipulating license from equipment. Now she faces 4 charges, carrying a total of 9 years imprisonment. Aung San Suu Kyi has still not met her lawyer after months in detention. Kim Monzo, one of her 2 lawyers, said she has a right to legal representation in court. The next hearing will be on March the 15th. For the Beijing Hour, I'm Gao Jiayi, reporting from Yangon.
World Health Organization Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus says the number of new COVID-19 cases globally has increased for the first time in 7 weeks.
The Surgeon General says he can fucking kill you.
In 4 of WHO's 6 regions: the Americas, Europe, Southeast Asia, and the Eastern Mediterranean. So where we don't
Eastern Mediterranean
increases
don't give
in
us these
Africa
fake made up fucking
and Western
geographical
Pacific.
regions.
This is disappointing, but not surprising.
He says the spike appears to be partly due to the relaxing of public health measures. Meantime,
It
the
appears to
WHO
be,
chief has
but the
expressed
measures
concerns
haven't
about
been
the
relaxed
vaccination
anywhere.
delays in
So,
developing countries
how
and
does that make
criticized wealthy nations for not sharing vaccine. We're at 28 minutes past the hour now. Turning to the forecast ahead of the break in Beijing today, sunny skies and 6 degrees Celsius, a low of -4 tonight. Chongqing will be overcast and 15, then dipping down to 9. Lhasa sunny and 19 with a low of +3. In Hong Kong, it'll be overcast and 23 degrees today, a low of 18. In North America now, Washington, D.C. will be sunny on Tuesday and 7 degrees Celsius. New York City getting some wind and +2. In Africa, Nairobi's getting sunshine and 27 degrees. And finally to Oceania, Port Vila's getting showers and 29 Celsius. It's time for a short break so far this hour. A labeling agreement between China and the EU is expected to improve access to featured products from each side. China's top legislature has amended or drafted laws regarding public health. The UN expresses this
in Toronto, and what is not. When you can get your shot is out of the hands of City Hall. The Blue Jays and the Pirates played 6.5 innings today, and they ended in a 2-2 tie. And will Austin Matthews be in the lineup tonight? Sports 45.
The TSX and the Dow start off the trading week with triple-digit gains. And Air Canada says it's reached a deal to make Jazz Aviation the sole operator of its express flights. Business at 56.
What did you just say? The company that owns the company has decided that's the only company it will use? That's not business news. That's what the fuck did you start your own fucking discount airline for if it wasn't for that purpose? Am I confused? Did I miss an important detail there?
That's when the decision was made to just shut it down and wait out the weather. So you'll have to detour around that. Highway 27 is closed for a stretch north of Highway 88. A separate problem here, collision. It's closed between 8th line and 9th line, so you have to get around that. Also, Fifth Side Road was blocked north of Innisfil Beach Road at last check, with tracked 2 transports that had jackknifed in that area.
Ooh.
Other alternates like 10th Side Road and Yonge Street to the east of the 400, also quite slow in sections to get around this closure. And also, southbound 400 is closed further north. Wabashine from Quarry Road to Highway 12, also a collision there being cleaned up. As far as the 401 goes, just the one delay. Westbound 401, Mavis and the Express to approaching Mississauga Road. From the 680 Traffic Center, Christine Langos.
And the problem has
All I
finally
know,
cleared for
kids
the
around here ain't gonna
northbound Don
starve
Valley
when the shit hits the fan at the end. When the shit finally hits the fan, oh, you think the shit hit the
in the
fan.
ramp lane, and beyond that, it's slow from
You don't know
North
what's
to
gonna
approaching
happen
John
next,
Mills
do you?
again. All lanes have been reopened. Tuesday on
some of us
BT, the
got a
news
good
app lets
idea
you rate
anyway.
your landlord in Toronto. Plus, Chef Daniel Bayou will show you how to do breakfast served right. Watch BT weekdays at 6 a.m. on City TV. Your next report is at 6:41.
Breakfast television been around since the 90s, well, 25 years, let's say.
Scattered light flurries and snow showers here.
City of Toronto waits till the schools have been closed for 2 fucking years to come out with, we're going to start a breakfast program. Yeah, now that you've tried everything possible to make the poor black kids sick, you're going to start making the food for them, right? Oh, it's good to be fresh. Things that aren't cooked and things that aren't washed.
We could still see
Well, we don't
some
eat salads.
areas that are having whiteout conditions here in the GTA.
People with autoimmune
all thanks to
disorders
those
won't eat a
schools off
salad.
Huron
Nope.
and Georgian Bay that have really been so energized and keep intensifying, to be honest. We have blizzard-like conditions in pockets of cottage country this evening. It's just brutal out there. Your overnight low tonight here in the city, -10.
This is 680 News.
Okay, tell us the same. What's
Now
this?
north of the city, snow plows and salters are out on a stretch of the 400 where whiteout conditions earlier caused a multi-vehicle collision, shutting down the 400.
What's the point of sending plows? What's the fucking point of sending plows? The snow is literally a wall of snow blowing across the road. What's the point of sending plows? Send the plows here, stupid.
About 15 or so vehicles involved in the collisions that took place here in the last couple of hours. And the highway will remain closed now for some time while they evaluate the situation.
However, OPP Sergeant Carrie Schmidt says one lane remains open for drivers who are stuck near the crash site on the southbound side. That section of the highway is set to remain closed indefinitely until weather conditions improve.
Listen to what you just said. However, one lane is still open. However, that road is still closed. What does that mean? Did you think that when they close the road, you're not allowed to leave that road? You're not allowed to leave. They close it from the other end, stupid. Usually. Although we did catch them last year, about a year ago, closing the road from the end and not the beginning. And flipping out that people were still driving down that road. Wow.
We'll have weather alerts blanketing the area. Reporting live, I'm Michelle Mackey.
This is 6 City News. The strong winds that created those whiteout conditions in Barrie are expected to continue into the evening. A snow squall warning has now been dropped for Toronto, but there are still winter travel advisories and special weather.
So remember, the provincial Liberals killed the, there was a 10 megawatt transmission line they were going to put up through a corridor to make it possible for all the people that want to put up windmills and so forth to connect them to the grid. Man, it was the provincial Liberals that killed that. Oh, I'm just thinking, there's not enough wind. The wind doesn't always blow. I don't think you understand how electrical grids work.
About after 1 or 2 a.m. through the early morning on Tuesday.
Do you call it a plug? A plug? You plug the plug in and out? Is the thing in the wall and the thing in your hand both called a plug? You're not.
It can cause the poles to either fall over or the line to basically come down, and that's where people are going to experience those outages.
She doesn't understand the concept, but she's going to tell us. The ice on the wire makes the wire so heavy it snaps. But she doesn't know that that's the mechanism. It sort of basically kind of comes down.
Just make sure you have batteries and flashlight, and make sure your phone's charged just in case the power does go out. Reporting live, I'm Owen Qureshi.
Batteries, that's right.
So your region getting a lot of attention as it moves forward with its efforts to vaccinate those over 80. 6 City's Irene Franklin tells us all available appointments were almost immediately swooped up.
In a matter of 2 hours, 20,000.
Not scooped, swooped. Swooped up.
Dr. Kareem Kurji is York's medical officer of health and is asking for patience. He says more appointments will be added as more doses become available.
It's a great step and it gives us all a great deal of happiness. We do apologize though for the fact that people have to wait so long in terms of getting their bookings. It's really a question of seeing something as being the glass being half full versus half empty.
From his point of view, where telling people what they must do is what he went to school for, to be a doctor.
Remember, Hindustani accent notwithstanding, he's not going by the old Hindustani text. He's going by Canadian text.
Oh, what was the other thing I was about to say? The fucking, oh yeah.
So the so-called conventional marketing, you make them sign up for an appointment 3 fucking times and keep erasing it and tell them there's no vaccine and so forth, and that will make them more driven to sign up. That's what the cigarette marketers from the 50s thought, and it doesn't work. Do you realize how simple this would have been? Whoever wants the vaccine, put your name on a list. That's it. No, we got to do it this way.
Right, because this will make them want it more. It's a glass half full, because we've almost got everybody convinced. No, you don't. The doctors are blabbling back and forth to each other. You know why they get the vaccine? To prove to you should get it. And then when you tell them, but you're healthy and I'm not, well, yes, that's why you should get it. They don't get it. They don't understand English. They don't understand logic, is what I should say.
350 smaller vaccination sites, including hospitals and community centers, and approximately 240.
The hospitals are going to be the small sites. Did you hear that?
I'm Mark Douglas.
Oh,
meanwhile, Peel Region says they made a mistake.
Hospital, pharmacy, almost the same
advice
thing.
what parents should do if their children are sent home from school after a COVID exposure. 6 City's Karen Seolan joins us.
They're going to use the measles as a comparison. But remember, they'll tell you measles don't exist, except that it exists enough that you have to get the vaccine, but we wiped it out with the vaccine. So nobody alive knows what it's like to deal with a kid with measles.
This product has since been removed and is currently being revised. The product does not state our position in respect of isolation of children.
The product has been removed. It was a piece of paper sent home, you fucking retard. The website doesn't say the same thing as the piece of paper.
The province's Associate Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Barbara
These are the teachers. These are the people you think will teach your kids somehow. And it blows my mind how white people are in this country. They will tell you that their schooling was worthless. They learned nothing from it. And then they'll yell at them, you don't have to go to school. If you ask why, they can't answer the question. They cannot answer the question.
Reporting live, I'm Karen Seolan. Gas prices are next.
Your news
We don't care.
on your radio.
We don't really care about gas prices.
And lockdown measures. And so he really strongly believes that over-the-top fear-mongering is needlessly doing damage. So we've got a very busy show, but coming up next, you do not and should not miss this next segment because
it's
fear-mongering.
fear-mongering.
A grieving father accusing the We Charity of fraud and he wants the RCMP to launch an investigation. His story is explosive.
You are a year behind schedule, brethren.
It's not heartbreaking. I will do that next. Stay with us, Alex Pearson.
A year behind schedule,
Monday,
brethren.
as we take you into break here on Global News Radio.
Remember the weed charity?
Can't find up.
Yeah, they've been handling ours since 2001. TechWise will get you above your competition on Google and Facebook.
It amazes me how
all
copyright
over the
holders
web.
can be.
And that helps people find you instead of your competition.
Taking your business to the top, TechWise. Mixed and match.
You notice how the artists who take the strictest view of their rights, nobody hears them, they're not relevant anymore as artists. Remember that? When's the last time you heard them talk about Madonna? Right, because we don't listen. Why? Because she was smarter than the rest of us, I guess. And she had to resort to selling photos of her when she was a kid. And money. These people aren't about money.
Brought to you by Leon's Furniture. Here's Kyle Hawking.
Well, still big problems on routes to the north. The 400 is closed southbound from Quarry Road to Highway 12.
Quarry Road.
Because of a collision. And then there's the big closure of north and southbound lanes from Highway 89 to Mapleview. Now, there was a collision southbound in this area, and the OPP made the decision to close both directions because the road
It's all about trees and
so this section of
this is Cold River. That's Cold Deep Lake.
But no timeline for
That's Bear Point. Don't go over there. Just don't go over there.
27 is also closed in Bradford, north of Highway 88, from 8th to 9th lines for a collision investigation.
You got Plantation Road over here. We got Winston Churchill Boulevard right next to Plantation Road in this fucking city.
Stay away from Young as an alternate, especially
Yeah, we stay away from Young by default, actually.
And icy. And also 10th Side Road is an alternate going north and southbound through this stretch. Very slow, too. From the 680 Traffic Center, Christine Langos.
Westbound 4
By searching for China Plus News, we'll share with you our up-to-the-minute news, in-depth analysis, and live streaming videos.
Attract more resources, including technologies and talents from global markets. The measures announced by the ministry target 5 key areas. They include a commitment to improve government services and build a better legal environment to encourage foreign investment this year. The ministry says the government will launch a number of pilot schemes for trade and services to support industry and innovation at designated national economic development zones. It'll also work to boost trade within cross-border economic zones.
So some of the shit I was reading last night was about the percentage of crops. 50% of the
23% of its shares to state-backed investors.
Corn,
the
and
online
rice
retail giant says that it'll help to boost its distribution networks. Transportation and logistics firm Shenzhen International Holdings acquired an 8% stake concerning Coupon Capital, which is controlled by the Shenzhen municipal government, acquired a stake of 15%. The deals are worth around 15 billion yuan, or over $2 billion US. Suning founder Zheng Jindong remains the group's largest shareholder with around 16% ownership of the company. With more on this topic, we're joined by financial analyst Einar Tangen. Good morning.
Good morning.
So why is this move happening at this time?
Very simply, debt-fueled expansion in the past into areas like football clubs, Inter Milan, and the support of a local club, which has now been closed. It's just basically they had a bond crunch and they needed cash to go on. From the government side, very tricky situation. This is Suning is one of the top 3 to B2C companies out there, and obviously if they were to go away, there'd be concerns about further consolidating the industry and monopolization.
Why is Suning partnering with these state-owned enterprises, though, instead of seeking private capital?
Well, it's a good question. I think it's a lender of last resort. I don't know if they wanted to open their books sufficiently to do this, private entity side. From the government side, I mean, Shenzhen is getting something out of this. They're going to be moving their southern Chinese headquarters to Shenzhen. That could have been one incentive for them. But as I said, the government does not want to see the 1,600 franchise stores and the 700 cities close down, be disrupted. This is an important logistics provider, and they need it to continue.
Well, with these changes, Suding says there will no longer be a dominant interest over the company because the main shareholders now all hold roughly equal shares. So what does that mean in actual terms for Suning?
It means that there won't be decisions to go outside the core business as easily. I mean, the buying this Inter Milan football club, 70% of it a few years ago, that really doesn't have a lot to do with the Suning brand. Theoretically, they're going to use it as an advertising vehicle, but they doubled down in terms of football investments. I think that is in the past. Now what you're going to see is a much more corporate environment where decisions are going to be made based on the strengths of the company itself.
All right, thank you very much for joining us this morning. That's financial analyst Einar Tangen talking about Suning's decision to enter into partnerships with some state-backed investors. 44 past the hour. A new study suggests that 94% of U.S. companies operating in China are optimistic about prospects for business this year. The report by the American Chamber of Commerce in South China says that none of the companies surveyed showed any desire to leave the country. More than half of respondents said that China remained the world's top investment destination. The vast majority said they plan to expand operations in the country over the next 3 years. The report highlighted three main challenges for the businesses, with the majority of those surveyed expressing concerns about rising manpower and operational costs, as well as a scarcity of qualified personnel. Analysts say China's growth last year shows the resilience of the country's economy in the face of severe headwinds. Data from the National Bureau of Statistics shows that China's gross domestic product expanded by 2.3% year-on-year in 2020, surpassing the threshold of 100 trillion yuan, or roughly 15 trillion US dollars. The rate of growth outstripped the 0.7% increase registered in the first 3 quarters. Nearly 12 million new jobs were created. Liu Baocheng from the University of International Business and Economics says the economy benefited from the overall stability of Chinese society during the pandemic.
China was not really complete the emergency mode because we continue to pave the road. We continue to lift people out of the poverty. We continue to invest more into the high-end manufacture. So therefore, that's the basic foundation that to sustain Chinese higher level of growth and high quality of growth for this year.
Although the total retail sales of consumer goods declined by nearly 4% last year, the online sales of physical commodities saw a big jump of over 14%, surpassing 9.7 trillion yuan, or around 1.5 trillion US dollars. The analyst says China's retail sector benefited from a combination of consumer confidence, strong supply chains, and government support. He says that all of these factors will continue to drive growth in the retail sector post-pandemic. You're listening to the Beijing Hour. Coming up in sports, the Chinese Football Association expresses disappointment at the loss of a club in the Super League.
You're listening to the Beijing Hour. 60 minutes of comprehensive news. Your window on China and the world.
47 past the hour. Turning to sports now, and starting with the Chinese Football Association, it says it.
Republicans. I mean, it's been this way for the last 50, 60 years, and actually longer than that, probably closer to 100 years. And they're quite entrenched in their ways, both Democrats and Republicans, and they don't offer the best solutions for voters. They're great for special interest groups because they can pour lots of money into those two parties. But the districts are so gerrymandered, they're drawn so crazily that they rarely flip from one party to another. And let's face it, the pressure is on the Biden administration to perform. I mean, he's got a 62% approval rating, and Trump's was 39% when he left. So, the fact that there is money going
had to break quarantine rules just to get service.
Eventually, I had to go showed up that we're not supposed to go out our room, but I have not tried.
Conservative critic Michelle Rempel-Garner doubling down on her calls to end the hotel quarantines.
This is a violation of Canadians' rights, and the federal government should be ashamed of themselves.
A spokesperson for the Minister of Health tells me they're aware of issues with food and accommodation, and the public health agency is working directly with hotel partners to find solutions. Cormac McSweeney, Parliament Hill.
Traffic and weather together in 60 seconds.
My husband coached soccer until that accident on this motorcycle. A serious spinal injury put him in that wheelchair for life. He's back.
That wheelchair. Good, good. You found an actor to play a stereotype that doesn't exist. That wheelchair, because it's symbolic of the evil that took his freedom from me, right? Right? I think I just set my
I'm Michael Lamont. Personal injury is all we do. Resolving personal injury cases for over 40 years.
Oh, I better pour some water down here somewhere.
In times like these, shouldn't your money work even harder for you? We think so. That's why at Duca Credit Union, you get no-fee checking accounts. You also get high interest on deposits and investments and low mortgage rates. Plus, you get to share in the profits. That's the Duca difference.
Let's see where the cigarette hit the water bottle.
1.79% on a 5-year fixed mortgage when you switch to Duca. Find out how at mortgage.duca.com.
I do not see smoke.
Achieve more with Duca Credit Union. Conditions apply.
If not, I'll leave the video running as I run out so you can watch it burn while I...
Brought to you by 407 ETR. Here's Kyle Hawking.
Well, we get nothing from the OPG above the 400. Still closed north and southbound from Highway 89 to Mapleview, but they're hoping perhaps by 7:30 to get lanes reopened. This is weather dependent.
You said the lane is open. The one lane is still open, so you can get out of there.
As if the police like physically block the entire length of every lane. Oh, that you can go around. Yeah, it's a roadblock, but you go up that lane.
You say the dumbest shit on the radio.
Area, but hopefully that will be lifted within the next hour or even shorter. We've got another closure of the South 400 even further north in Wabashine. Southbound lanes of the 400 closed Quarry Road to Highway 12 because of a collision. And if you're trying to get around the closure of the 400 through the Bradford up towards Barrie area, we've got a closure of Highway 27 in Bradford, 8th line to 9th line to get around. Also, the 5th side road was blocked north of Innisfil Beach Road with a couple of jackknife transports. 10th Side Road and Yonge Street also quite slow as alternates. From the 680 Traffic Center, Christine Langos.
One lane still west of the city, westbound 401 west of Highway 8. That's where the two right lanes still blocked because of a tractor-trailer rollover. It's slow from west of Highway 24. The volume is starting to decrease through the area, so there's a bit of good news. 407 ETR remains committed to supporting customers and communities in the GTA throughout the long-term recovery. Learn more at 407etr.com/road to recovery. Your next report is at 7:01. Now with the forecast, here's Denise Andriachi.
Special weather statement and weather advisory still in effect here in the GTA. A wind chill of -18 right now at Pearson. Just keeps getting colder and colder. These winds out of the west-northwest still howling 60 to 70 km/h gusts. And we still have this chance of flurries, which could be heavy at times the rest of this evening, although most of the active weather has started to break up a bit. It's a bit more inconsistent than it was a few hours ago, but this risk will continue. And if you do have to travel outside the GTA, we have blowing snow advisories through Guelph.
Was in the room with me fundraising in front of thousands of kids who were not only in the room, but also watching by broadcast on the internet. The plaque for Wesley had already been taken down by that time, and he never told me. Instead, on camera and on mic in front of the media to so many donors, school kids from, by the way, a very cash-strapped school district, Mark Kilberger talked about Wesley School and its memorial there, his plaque, and he encouraged other kids to do the same in their Brick by Brick campaign.
Right. Just transfer all that pain of your friend dying into making money for us, even though we're already paid by law and by union rules. And right.
Subscribe to 680 News.
So I think it was grade 4. One thing I remember about grade 4, multiple sclerosis. Canada 125 would be
680 News, Hamilton
92,
police are
right?
checking businesses in an industrial area in Stony Creek following a deadly double shooting over the
That's
weekend.
about right.
A 39-year-old man from British Columbia was found dead by police.
I've got sickle cell. They got me running in the sun all fucking day to raise money for multiple sclerosis. I got trigeminal neuralgia, which is a symptom. The only thing they know for sure it's related to is multiple sclerosis. Did I get an education that year?
We're running down the area now, and
we expect our
4, 5, 6, and 7. I got almost nothing.
We actually have our command vehicle down there. We encourage anybody who either works or resides in the area. If you see our command van, or if you saw or heard anything that was unusual or out of the ordinary for you, to approach our command van and provide any information that you think is relevant.
Police
Yeah,
believe
just walk
the
right up to the
suspect
van.
or
The whole
suspects
neighborhood
lived in a
watching.
white, newer model Land Rover SUV. The man who was killed was in the process of moving from BC to the GTA.
Oh, really? Really? That's not allowed, bro. That's what happens when you try to move from BC to Toronto. Don't do it. I'm not fucking joking. Hey, 436 Symington. I caught flack for saying it would happen, and then it happened. Somehow it's my fault for telling you, but everybody that grows up out here knows.
BLIO.com and find out.
436 Symington. Where even the cause, there was numerous shots. The woman's fucking crying, but reporting on a fucking shooting. Well, that's who you want handling these situations. You have to emote, and they confuse empathy with emphasizing. If I empathize, you'll feel what I'm pretending to feel. Do you have these people stare? Hey, are I telling you, you have to look them in the eyes? Like, why? You're a fucking creepy rapist. I don't want to look in your eyes. Fucking cops are the worst for that. But what's the CF say? Real human beings don't stare into each other's eyes. It's an act of aggression. So they will tend to look at the ground when someone is speaking. Oh. But cops know better than everybody because they went to a private career college that they didn't have to pay for. The government of Ontario pays the tuition for some reason. Oh, same with PSWs now. Same with PSWs 20 years ago. I don't know when it started costing money to become a PSW. I know you got all the rejects from school, all the people you treated like absolute crap, and then put them in that job, and you're surprised that all the old people died. I only have 7 minutes to get each person ready and down to the cafeteria. It would take you about a minute to carry 7 trays of food up, you fucking retard. Why are you bringing them all to the cafeteria at the same time? Who the fuck's idea is that? You ever see people in the hospital all want to get going? Let's all go somewhere. No. Fuck. These are the geniuses you have running everything. Defer. So it's not my fault. I told someone else that they should do it, so it's not my fault. And when they came for me, there was nobody else left. I got nothing for. I'm so sorry. I thought I would have something useful. That's why I start the camera and then go looking for shit. Otherwise, I hear shit myself before I'm on. You got to hear this. You got to hear that. That's not as good, is it? No. If I could clear the memory off my phone, I would be doing videos of these fucking tomatoes. That would be the big thing. Urban guerrilla gardening. Now, why do I spell it G-O? Because I figure kids don't need to know what the word guerrilla means. And we can put a picture of a gorilla on a stick next to the gardens if we have to. It's going south, isn't it? It's going bad. It's going left. It's going sideways. Everything's going bad, isn't it?
Black and green bandana, black bandana, 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 black bandana, black and green, black bandana, black bandana, black and green, black bandana, black bandana, black and green, black bandana,
and I'm even guilty.
black bandana, black and green.
Keep it up, Chomo.